Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my very first episode on the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti, and for this episode, we are going to take a deep dive into and review a music documentary video, I should say, on Tom Petty, a fantastic musician. This video is called Running Down a Dream. If I can hold this up properly to you, forgive the crookedness. This was released in 2007. It was directed by Peter Bogdanovich, who's recently passed away. Peter Bogdanovich has directed movies such as The Last Picture Show and Mask, just to name two of them. Again, this was released in 2007. This version of the video that I have is a 4-hour across 2 DVDs. It's a 4-hour documentary. It's the director's cut. And there's also a third DVD of a homecoming concert, I believe, that was recorded on, if memory serves, September 21st, 2006. And it features Stevie Nicks that comes out and performs on 3 tracks with the band, and she also remains on stage and sings background vocals. What to say about this documentary, guys? A lot. I have seen many documentaries, and as any of you know who know me as friends and family, you know I'm a big fan of Queen. And I've seen a lot of Queen documentaries, okay? This documentary right here trumps any Queen documentary that I've ever seen, ever. This documentary is textbook in how a documentary is to and should be done. Okay, again, this is the 4-disc version. It has the director's cut across 2 DVDs. It has the hometown concert in Gainesville, Florida. And it also has a 4th disc, which is a CD of unreleased audio tracks were recorded at the show that weren't released on video, apparently. Now, this story of Tom Petty is quite interesting. The tenacity that this man showed to get his music released and recorded and released is unbelievable. It starts out talking about growing up in Gainesville, Florida, and always wanting to be in music. He started a band called the Epics, which really didn't go anywhere. The Epics turned into a band called Mudcrutch. And again, I always want to say Mud Crunch. I don't know why. That's a bit difficult for me to get my mouth around to say. But Mudcrutch turned into, eventually, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. They signed a development and production deal with a small record label called Shelter Records. And they, went along, did their thing, signed the deal, recorded songs, and released the first album. And eventually, the recording contract to Shelter was sold to MCA Records. Now, Petty didn't want to be, sorry, I'm going to stumble over my words quite a bit here, didn't want to be signed to MCA because he looked at MCA as a major conglomerate and as a label that did not serve the best needs of their artists signed to them. But he acquiesced and he went along with it. What he didn't know was, along with the production deal, the recording contract, his publishing rights to all his music went to MCA. And he fought tooth and nail to get it back, to get the rights back. And there was a point where they were going to court. And MCA basically said, look, you really don't have a foot to stand on. This is the way it is. You're going to record for us, and that's it. And his basic response was, I'd rather sell, I'm sure he said something else, but he said, I'd rather sell peanuts before I give you my publishing and give you my songs. I'm not doing it. Well, MCA came back to him and they backed down. So they started up a new record company called Backstreet Records for him, specifically, sorry, again, for Tom Petty. But the only condition was that they would retain the distribution of his music. So he went along with it, and eventually he ended up leaving MCA and signed with Warner Brothers. But just to backtrack a little bit, the band of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers consisted of Tom Petty on lead vocals and guitars, Ron Blair on bass, Mike Campbell on guitars, various guitars and instruments, Ben Montench on keyboards, organ, piano, and Stan Lynch on drums and percussion. And before I go any further, I really do need to give a special shout out to Mike Campbell, because to me, when I was watching this, he, to me, is the unsung hero of this whole bloody situation. And he basically became Tom Petty's right-hand man, helped co-produce the records, and they developed a long-lasting, lifelong friendship until Tom Petty's unfortunate demise. Again, this is a very detailed documentary. It's a very poignant documentary. It talks about the beginnings of the band, from the Epics, going to Mudcrutch, becoming Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, having to take on the responsibility of the band, which he really didn't want to do. He looked at the band as a cohesive unit, as a group, as a group of brothers that stood against everyone else that would want to get in their way. Ron Blair subsequently left the group, and then they hired Howie Epstein for a time. Howie Epstein unfortunately succumbed to drug addiction, and then they got Ron Blair back in the band. Stan Lynch on drums eventually became disinterested in what Tom Petty was doing musically. So he left the band. Well, actually, he was asked to leave the band because Petty became increasingly frustrated with his erratic and uncooperative behavior. Now, when you're running a band, guys, when you're running a band and your name is up there on the marquee and on the contracts, and you're responsible for a whole group of people paying their salaries, and you have to come up with the music, and you have to keep things going, that is a bloody lot of pressure to put on one person. So when Stan Lynch was balking at what Tom Petty was doing, he just said, okay, you're out. I can't do any more recording with you. You're out. So he's out, and then they got in Steve Ferrone, who's, again, another fantastic drummer. And I'm not saying that Stan Lynch is not a good drummer, but he basically, Tom Petty knew when he would rehearse musicians after one song, rehearsing whether or not they were good or not. So Steve Ferrone came in and he got the gig, and they continued ever since. This documentary, again, it's very detailed. It's very emotional. It's very poignant. It covers the ins and outs of the record business. There's a point where he is producing Roger McGuire, I believe, from the Byrds, and the record company A&R guy is there, and they want him to record a song that was more in the vein of pop music, AOR pop. And Petty refused to do it. He refused to record the song because he said it was crap. He basically said, I can smoke a joint within 10 minutes and in 10 minutes and write a song better than this. And he stuck to his guns, and the record company backed down. Now, how many artists, I don't care how established you are, how many artists are able to do that? To basically stick to their guns and basically have the other party back down? Not many. This documentary also covers, unfortunately, issues of Tom Petty's childhood, having a very abusive father, and it's on record, it's all documented, that he was very physically abusive towards Tom Petty, and that he only gave him recognition as a human being when Tom Petty became famous. And Tom Petty did not ever forget that at all. What else can I say about the movie? The interviews for the movie are done by Peter Bogdanovich. You can hear him talking in the background off camera. Style-wise, it's a collaboration between black and white film and color film, and it flows seamlessly. There is not one moment in this video that slows down or drags or lags, whatever you want to say. Not at all. And I was actually, I've known of Tom Petty. Obviously, you have to be living in a cave on a foreign planet somewhere, to not know who Tom Petty was. But I never really gave him that much attention when he was alive, when he was recording. I subsequently found this documentary on Amazon, and I wanted to buy it. And I found it for cheap. I found it for like $23. So it was a good deal. This version is the 4-disc version. If you want to get the standard version, it's the same picture like this of Tom Petty on the side profile, but the picture is in yellow as opposed to red. And it's got to be said, I was told that when this was widely available, that this version of it sold out more than the standard version. So I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this documentary opened my eyes to an artist that I am ashamed that I did not pay attention to while they were alive. And I kick myself for not doing that, because I feel like I missed out on a fantastic opportunity. So if you are a Tom Petty fan, or if you want to investigate Tom Petty, you can locate this. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Discogs, I would imagine. Go to a local record shop that sells used Blu-rays or DVDs, and you can probably find it there. I will also say that there is also, only on YouTube, a Wildflowers documentary. A documentary that's based on the recordings of his album Wildflowers. And you can only find it on YouTube. And I watched that as well. And it's also another fantastic, very touching video. So again, if you don't have this, please invest the time to find it any way you can, stream it if you can, and take some time out of your day and enjoy just what I consider to be is a fantastic artist. So that brings me to the end of this video, and you probably will be hearing one of my dogs, Nina, barking in the background. So when you see these videos, you're probably going to hear her and her sister Nala barking quite a bit. So I apologize for that. Okay. But anyways, this brings me to the end of my very first video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you try and investigate Tom Petty. If you have already and you know what I'm talking about, fantastic. If not, there's one thing I've always learned. You never know everything about music. There's always something new to find out about whatever music genre that's out there. So take the time and please investigate this documentary and investigate the music of Tom Petty. That's it for this video for today. If you like what you see and you enjoy it, please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And hopefully you like what you see, and I will be bringing you more. So anyways, have a good day, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be talking to you very soon.